Now, if you haven't already, I suggest you watch the first part for a deeper understanding of the Usurp the Fire questline. Previously, we covered the basic plot of the game, what the Age of Dark means to Dark Souls 3, Yol, the Pilgrims, and touched on Yuria, if you know what I mean, and got a good idea of what Lundor would be like. We also went on to understand what it means to be unkindled versus being hollow and how hollowing affects you. Coming up, we'll focus mostly on Anri, and we'll analyze all the dialogue in varying questline branches, then get a good grasp, if you know what I mean, of Astora, Anri's homeland. We'll also examine and analyze Aldrich. This goes without saying, but I'll say it, there will be spoilers. So, among your jolly travels through the Road of Sacrifices, you'll soon bump into Anri and good pal Horace at the halfway fortress bonfire. Interestingly, Anri is always the opposite gender of your character, with the same exact dialogue.
Oh, hello. How do you do? I'm Anri of Astora, unkindled like you. This is Horace, a friend and travelling companion. Are you too in search of the Lords of Cinder? We're well along the Road of Sacrifices. Below us is the Crucifixion Woods. Beyond the flooded woods lies Farron Keep, home of the Undead Legion. Further yet is the Cathedral of the Deep. We seek the Cathedral, home of the grim Aldrich. We may go our separate ways now, but we are both seekers of lords. The next time we cross paths, one may find the other in a time of need. May the flames guide your way.
Here's the female variation, who is voiced by Lucy Briggs Owen. She also voiced fake Yosefka in Bloodborne, and she sounds just like her.
Oh, hello. How do you do? I am Anri of Astora, unkindled like you. This is Horace, a friend and travelling companion. Are you too in search of the Lords of Cinder? We are well along the Road of Sacrifices. Below us is the Crucifixion Woods. Beyond the flooded woods lies Farron Keep, home of the Undead Legion. Further yet is the Cathedral of the Deep. We seek the Cathedral, home of the grim Aldrich. We may go our separate ways now, but we are both seekers of lords. The next time we cross paths, one may find the other in a time of need. May the flames guide your way.
They are unkindled Lord Seekers, just like you. But more importantly, they seek Aldrich of the Deep. Their destination is to the cathedral coffin in which Aldrich writhed out of. Anri is from Astora and wears the same armor and nearly identical weaponry as the knight supposedly named Oscar. He's the very first NPC you meet in the first game who gives you the Estus flask.
An Estus flask. An undead favorite.
And, coincidentally, makes an homage in this game as the corpse you get the Ashen Flask from.
Oh, yes. Horace. He's not very talkative. But don't think ill of him. He is an upstanding, kind-hearted knight, a fine partner for this grueling journey. Without his help, I would have cursed this onerous duty long ago.
Oh yes, Horace. He's not very talkative. But don't think ill of him. He's an upstanding, kind-hearted knight, a fine partner for this grueling journey. Without his help, I would have cursed this onerous duty long ago.
In talking to Horace, he will grunt a few times and never speak, which is ironic because the Roman legend under the same name was a renowned lyric poet. Horace will give you the Blue Sentinel Covenant pledge. You can assume they are of this covenant, which is a righteous and formidable covenant that vows to protect the Way of Blue invaded by bloodlusting invaders. And when I say righteous, I mean that in the 80s slang. Like, righteous, dude!
Excellent!
Also, knights from Astora are associated with the color blue, so it's possible both ancient covenants originated out of Astora, though since these covenants were first presented in Dark Souls 2, which was a reboot of sorts, that's speculation on my part. They will soon depart, but you will be able to summon them both for the Deacons of the Deep boss fight, which happens to be at the coffin made out for Aldrich. They always turn away from you when you face them, but it's nothing significant because a handful of other summons do this as well. As it turns out, Aldrich has departed, so Anri and Horace continue their quest to find him, but make a brief pit stop at the Firelink Shrine to plan their next route.
Oh, and we meet again. We spoke before on the Road of Sacrifices. Anri of Astora. I'm well pleased to see you safe. We reached the Cathedral of the Deep, but Aldrich's coffin was empty. The man-eater must have left for his true home. The little doll in the empty coffin told me.
Wait, the doll spoke to you? It never spoke to me. Hold on. Let me hold it up to my ear.
Wherever you go, the moon still sets in Irithyll. Wherever you may be, Irithyll is your home.
By God, that's some creepy shit.
Aldrich is said to hail from Irithyll in the Boreal Valley, an ancient fabled city. A pilgrim told me that the city lies beyond Farron Keep, and so becomes our destination.
Anri mentions being guided by a pilgrim, which is interesting because you were too. And here's the female variation for good measure.
Oh, and we meet again. We spoke before on the Road of Sacrifices. Anri of Astora. I'm well pleased to see you safe. We reached the Cathedral of the Deep, but Aldrich's coffin was empty. The man-eater must have left for his true home. The little doll in the empty coffin told me. Aldrich is said to hail from Irithyll in the Boreal Valley, an ancient fabled city. A pilgrim told me that the city lies beyond Farron Keep, and so becomes our destination.
So they plan to traverse through Farron Keep, defeat the Abyss Watchers, and scour the catacombs to reach Irithyll. Go talk to Yuria, and she'll have some compelling information for you that will make complete sense of the whole opposite gender thing.
Our lord and liege, knowest thou of a youth named Anri? He is hollow, and will join thee in wedlock.
Now you're arranging marriages for me?
A fellow of mine guides him at this moment. When the time is ripe, thou mayst make thy salutations. For what lord taketh no spouse?
You guys got my life all figured out, don't you? She also mentions Anri is a hollow, which means he or she too has dark sigils. Someone out there was able to get screenshots of Anri and Horace without their helmets on, and as you can see, indeed, Anri is hollow. Horace looks a lot more hollow than Anri, judging from how pale he is. This may also be why he doesn't speak, being on the verge of madness. Keep this in the back of your mind as we continue this quest. Yuria's dialogue does change depending on the gender of Anri.
Knowest thou of a maid named Anri?
Oh yeah, definitely.
She is hollow,
We're a lot alike then.
and will join thee in wedlock.
Oh.
A fellow of mine guides her at this moment.
She does mention a friend of hers as guiding Anri at the moment, and if you put two and two together, this is likely the pilgrim he or she mentioned. Yuria is friends with every goddamn pilgrim in this game, and it makes you question why. Regardless, after you defeat the Abyss Watchers and Deacons of the Deep, you'll eventually come across the catacombs and find Anri sulking in a corner. Just, what is it, Anri?
Oh, hello. How very fortunate. Have you seen my companion, Horace? To my shame, I was snared by a trap and we've become separated. I've not been able to find him since.
At this point, you would have no idea where Horace is, and the only thing you can say is no.
Yes, I see. Horace is a valiant knight. He can look after himself, no question. He's probably searching for me right now, with twice the resolve. If you happen upon him, please tell him that I remained in the catacombs, and I will lay prism stones to guide him, as always. Please send him word, I beg of you. May the flames guide your way.
He makes mention of the prism stones, and whenever you do see one of these glowing things, it means Anri was there. No, not because there was a PvP fight club going on, no. Here's the female variation.
Oh, hello. How very fortunate. Have you seen my companion, Horace? To my shame, I was snared by a trap and we've become separated. I've not been able to find him since. Horace is a valiant knight. He can look after himself, no question. He's probably searching for me right now, with twice the resolve. If you happen upon him, please tell him that I remain in the catacombs and will lay prism stones to guide him, as always.
Did you know you're engaged to me?
Please send him my word. I beg of you. May the flames guide your way.
Later, you will discover Anri near the end of the catacombs, still sulking and unable to find Horace.
Oh, hello. We meet again. Have you seen Horace anywhere?
Isn't that him in the pit below us?
Oh, yes. I see.
Obviously you don't.
I've searched high and low, with no luck. Perhaps he's left the catacombs.
Not low enough, apparently.
Oh, Horace. Where have you run off to?
God, come on, Anri. If you had binoculars, it'd be really easy to spot Horace down in that murky pit just standing there between two corpses. Well, I sense something ominous about him. Hell, you don't even need binoculars to see him, Anri. Seriously. Are you blind? Well, technically, it'd be nearsighted. Here's a little test for you. Okay, Anri, how many fingers am I holding up? Anri! Anri? Oh, don't tell me he's hard of hearing, too. But then again, I am talking to an NPC. I should be questioning my own sanity. The answer is 1. Just 1. Oh, I bet you can see it now, can't you?
Oh, Horace. Where have you run off to? Have you abandoned me? No. What a horrible thought.
And here's the female dialogue.
Hello. We meet again.
Oh, hello, dear.
Have you seen Horace anywhere?
No.
Oh, yes, I see.
He probably abandoned you.
I've searched high and low with no luck. Perhaps he's left the catacombs.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, Horace, where have you run off to? Have you abandoned me?
I sure hope so.
No.
You're my fiancé.
What a horrible thought.
If you break the bridge and climb down, it opens up a whole new area called Smoldering Lake. Ash Lake? Smoldering Lake. You'll find Horace in a cave, but he'll attack you in sight. You can assume his hollowing finally drove him to madness, and unfortunately, there's no way to save him, resulting in nothing but sadness. There's a questline branch here. After discovering Horace, you can immediately leave and go tell Anri where Horace was, but the consequences could be dire.
Goodness me. To think there'd be a lake so deep within these catacombs. What a relief. I knew that Horace was alive and wouldn't stray far. Thank you. We are both in your debt. This hardly expresses my gratitude, but it'll have to do for now. Please, take it, and may the flames guide your way.
I'll go over this ring a little later.
I will soon head to the lake. Thank you. We are both in your debt. May the flames guide your way.
And here's the female variation.
Goodness me. To think there'd be a lake so deep within these catacombs. What a relief. I knew that Horace was alive and wouldn't stray far. Thank you. We are both in your debt. This hardly expresses my gratitude, but it'll have to do for now. Please take it, and may the flames guide your way. I will soon head to the lake. Thank you. We are both in your debt. May the flames guide your way.
Now, will Anri be able to deal with Horace's madness gracefully? Will Anri be able to engage him in battle and win? After defeating Lord Wolner and heading back to where Horace was, you'll find out. Sad fate, really. Anri was slain by the person he or she trusted more than anyone, but Hollows are known to eventually go mad and turn on their comrades. Instead, back up to where we originally found Horace. You can take him on and kill him yourself, though he can really rock that axe despite his awful fat roll. If you go tell Anri where he was, beat Lord Wolner, and head to where you killed Horace, you'll see Anri found Horace's axe and shield and put them up on a rock with a prism stone. In the impossible scenario, he may return. You can also just not tell Anri about Horace. That's a valid option too, and adds additional dialogue here on out. The next time you will see Anri is in Irithyll, chilling against a wall at the Yorkshire Shrine.
Oh, I thought it might be you. Good to see you. I never managed to find Horace, but my duty must be done, even alone, as an unkindled Lord Seeker. For the children I knew, bless their souls. We all have our reasons, don't we?
And the female counterpart says the exact same thing, as always, but it's good to be thorough.
Oh, I thought it might be you. Good to see you. I never managed to find Horace. But my duty must be done, even alone, as an unkindled Lord Seeker. For the children I knew, bless their souls. We all have our reasons, don't we?
Perhaps Aldrich had consumed children at one point in time, especially people that Anri knew. Aldrich was known to devour men, otherwise known as people, and because of this, made a lord. I mean, if you had this many people worshipping you out of fear, you can call yourself a lord too.
Let's take Aldrich for one. A right and proper cleric. Only he developed a habit of devouring men. He ate so many that he bloated like a drowned pig, then softened into sludge. So they stuck him in the Cathedral of the Deep, and they made him a lord of cinder, not for virtue, but for might.
He consumed so many people he turned into what we see here in the intro cinematic. Something not short of a pig intestine filled with rotting flesh and bones. If you didn't confront Anri about Horace in the catacombs, you will get some extra dialogue here as well as this ring.
Please, take this. Recompense for my foolish request. And also a token of protection. May the flames guide your way.
Please, take this. Recompense for my foolish request.
I also got a ring.
And also a token of protection.
My dog ate it.
May the flames guide your way.
Then Anri will go on to say,
You are brave indeed, to face your duty alone. I would do well to learn from you.
You are brave indeed.
Thanks.
To face your duty alone.
For better or worse, as they say.
I would do well to learn from you.
Anri is not that brave, and has presumably died a countless number of times getting to where he or she is now. There is another questline branch here. There is someone using a chameleon spell in the corner of the room. You can easily spot this person by using a spell buff. The buff showing on the statue is an obvious indicator someone is hiding there. You can expose the illusion by attacking just to find that it's a pilgrim all along.
Whatever for? Oh, my. You are. But I'm afraid we require more time. As long as it takes a dark droplet to fall, that is all. Ah, gracious Lord.
Despite the cryptic dialogue, you can assume this is the friend of Yuria's that is guiding Anri. Like what Yol did for you in giving you dark sigils and keeping the Halloween curse alive, you can assume this pilgrim was doing the same for Anri. It's likely Anri knows this pilgrim, but it's unlikely Anri knows she's following him. What other reason would she have to hide? It's good to note that Anri will not comment on the pilgrim after exposing or killing her. To see where this questline leads us first, we'll kill the pilgrim.
Lady Yuria.
Like Yol, she also calls out the Lady Yuria in death, which makes it pretty clear that either Yuria has a lot of pilgrim friends that really like her from Lundor, or she's actually a major figure in Lundor's church. Food for thought. Yuria will never find out about what you did and will never comment on it. Also, you'll get the chameleon spell the pilgrim was using after her death. To better understand Anri's relationship with Horace, it's good to take a look at the description of his armor. It states that Horace is one of only 2 children to escape Aldrich's clutches. Now, all the motivation for Anri makes complete sense, as there is more than enough insinuation Anri is also one of those 2 children. Both Anri and Horace are looking to get revenge on Aldrich, who consumed people they knew and cared about in their childhood. I'd gather they were witness to this travesty, and trauma is not easily forgotten, especially in childhood. I mean, I saw Poltergeist when I was 5, and I'm still not over the clown scene. Not in the reboot. It just wasn't the same. Regardless, not knowing exactly what happened to Horace gives Anri hope that he may return, and that hope is what keeps Anri going. To get more information out of Anri, let's go back and kill them to see what they say.
What's happened to you? Please, stop this. You've gone hollow, have you? Then I shall put you to rest. Horace, join me.
Please stop this! What's happened to you? You've gone hollow, have you? Then I shall put you to rest. Horace, join me.
Killing Anri first will result in the caring statement to Horace in passing.
Forgive me, Horace. It pains me to leave you.
Forgive me, Horace. It pains me to leave you.
If you kill Horace before Anri, Anri will simply collapse to his or her knees in prostration, refusing to fight further. This will also occur when you summon them for boss battles. This action isn't completely unfounded considering their inseparable friendship.
Oh, Horace. Why? Don't leave me. Not you. Not like the others. Oh, Horace. Horace.
Oh, Horace, why? Don't leave me. Not you. Not like the others. Oh, Horace. Horace.
As we've gathered from deciphering the lore, it's apparent Anri is talking about the children who died at the hands of Aldrich. At this point, you could very well leave Anri alive out of pity, or give death.
Oh, Horace. Everyone. Forgive me. I was weak on my own.
Oh, Horace. Everyone. Forgive me.
There goes my wedding plans.
I was weak on my own.
But if you leave Anri alive, he or she will continue to lament in the same position you killed Horace in for the rest of the entire game. All of Anri's summon signs will disappear henceforth and the questline will fail. Anri outright gives up, like a coward. If you kill Anri at any point, Yuria will disappear from the Firelink Shrine without another word. But for the sake of seeing Anri's good ending, we'll not. Anri losing Horace left him or her feeling abandoned and alone as the sole survivor of the other children who were consumed by Aldrich. And it's like a major backpedal from a lifelong uphill struggle through lordship oppression, dude. Horace was by Anri's side since childhood, so you can understand the extreme grief he or she feels. On top of all that, Anri just isn't brave enough to exact revenge without him. You will be able to summon Anri for the Pontiff Sullivan boss fight. It leads to his or her destination to An Orlando, where Aldrich now resides. Once you make your way there, in front of the giant doors, you'll see Anri's summon sign with a prism stone right next to it. It seems the prism stone was left for Horace in the case he might wander by and see it, but that won't happen. Since Horace is missing or dead in Smoldering Lake, Anri needs all the help he or she can get to finally exact revenge. And you are more than welcome. Here's an interesting detail. If Anri is a male, the summon sign will be on the left. If Anri is a female, the summon sign will be on the right. So, it seems Anri finally made his or her way to Aldrich and needs help. When you arrive, it's no surprise to Anri, but you'll be thrown into a battle against Aldrich.
I thought it might be you. No, this only bolsters my resolve. Please, lend me your strength. Help me vanquish Aldrich, the man in peace.
I thought it might be you. Then I'm afraid, Horace. This is bolstered my resolve. Please, lend me your strength.
It's good to mention that if you never told Anri about Horace, Anri will just now come to the realization that Horace is gone.
Then I'm afraid, Horace.
Now, let's take a closer look at Aldrich, the Devourer of Men, or in this case, the Devourer of Gods. What's suddenly changed? And why does he look so familiar? With a feminine beauty. Not only am I questioning my sexuality and getting turned on by this putrid yet immaculate spectacle, but I'm getting Dark Sun Gwendolyn vibes and Gravelord Nito vibes as well. This is such a strange combination of two completely opposite characters, and I love it! Though there is no direct correlation between Aldrich and Gravelord Nito because Nito was canonically slain to link the first flame in the first game, some inspiration for Aldrich was certainly taken from Nito and Gwendolyn in his design, choice of weapons, and theme. 1, you can see the skeletons of the people he devoured bulging out of him, as well as Gwendolyn's upper form. 2, he uses both Nito's Gravelord Scythe and Gwendolyn's similar spells. And 3, the music sounds like a perfect mashup of the Nito boss fight theme, and the Gwendolyn boss fight theme. Put those two together and you'd get something that sounds like this, Aldrich's theme. A Upon encountering Aldrich for the first time, you'd assume he looked like some formless mass as seen in the opening, but instead you come across this combination of the two past bosses. Nito, and the other of which, Gwendolyn, who as we know from the first Dark Souls is a son of Gwyn, raised as a girl, with an affinity to the moon and illusions. This god resided here to protect it, and was presumably successful for a very long time while Irithyll was built up around it by Aldrich's faithful, considering it's the one thing in this world that still stands despite the completely decimated walls that used to surround this place. This is because I believe Anor Londo was protected in a world of illusion through Gwendolyn's power, judging from the out-of-place snow, an illusory phenomenon similar to the Aurora Borealis. By the way, this is where the Boreal Valley gets its name. Besides, this area's location is confusingly right on top of where the Farron Swamp was. But the decimated walls of Anor Londo surrounding Farron Swamp is not present in Irithyll. Could this landmark in the distance be the ruins of the painted world of Ariamis? If so, this only corroborates the theory Irithyll and Anor Londo is entirely an illusion. But you also got to take a look at most of the religions of this game, stretching from the Cathedral of the Deep to Irithyll. These religions were all developed behind a mutual fear of Aldrich. They brought sacrifices to him. Some may have even offered themselves as lambs to him, and others presumably tried consuming men to become closer to him. Due to the fading fire, Gwendolyn grew ill, and gods such as him started losing their reign, similar to the events that transpired aeons before the first game that resulted in Gwyn sacrificing himself.
Then this is exactly what happened.
Sullivan labeled himself a pontiff and caged the ill Gwendolyn. Pontiff Sullivan fed Gwendolyn to Aldrich as a sacrifice, and unfortunately, by the time you get to Aldrich, he had already consumed him. We can assume this is the first and only god he had consumed, despite the plural in his name, and didn't know it would transform him. His very soul states that he saw the fading fire as an opportunity to bring out the age of the deep sea. Which is funny because the Japanese translation of his name is Eldritch, which corresponds to H.P. Lovecraft, and Lovecraft's work is synonymous with the deep sea. I don't think this is a coincidence. Regardless, he sought to devour gods, as this was the only way he knew how to bring out the age he envisioned. After defeating Aldrich, Anri will thank you.
I owe this to you. Thank you. Truly. Horace, we've done it. We really have.
I owe this to you. Thank you. Truly. Horace, we've done it. We really have.
You know, we never had a chance to get married, but I am happy for you. That's all that matters, your happiness. And it saddens me to say, this is the last time I'll ever see you. We can assume Anri made it out alive, as Anri's sword was left with Ludleth as thanks to give to you.
Knowst thou the name Anri of Astora? The brave lad left this as thanks. Though gave no elucidation.
And as a dude, he says,
the brave girl left this as thanks.
And as an afterthought,
now heed this little warning from this little lord. Seek not the boy.
Or,
seek not the girl.
Now there is a glitch here when playing as a female character where Ludleth refers to Anri as a girl, even after calling him a boy previously.
She knoweth her fate, what will become of her upon her duty's end. She would not wish thee follow her.
That confusion aside, that last line makes it very clear that A, it's possible that Yuria is pursuing Anri as the next Lord of Hollows now with your abandonment, and B, that last line makes it even more apparent that if you built any romantic attachment to him or her, just forget about it. Not that you have a choice, considering you will never see Anri again in the quest where Anri lives, and what happens thereafter is left up for speculation. At this point, we can at least learn more about Anri and his or her homeland, Astora, through item descriptions. First, let's take a look at the ring given you by Anri. A foul creature ravaged Astora and was captured into a ring. It nearly destroyed Astora, but was defeated by the sword of one most noble. And by mere coincidence, Anri is using that person's very sword. This also tells a lot about Anri, that Anri relied relied not on strength or dexterity, but on luck, as that sword scales based on that attribute. What happened to Astora with the creature has caused it to eventually fall and is now known only by name. And this description also makes it pretty apparent this may be how Anri stumbled upon the sword when revisiting his or her homeland. Well, that's the end of part 2. But don't bail just yet, there's one last part! A big special thanks to all my Patreon supporters, you know who you are. Wait, oh my gosh, there you all are right there, on the screen! The financial support from these wonderful people has helped me greatly, especially with the plethora of issues I've had with this computer resulting in the delay of this video, for which I am sorry. I cannot help it. If it's any consolidation, I haven't bathed in weeks trying to get these issues worked out. I reek of hard work. Also, take a look at my last few related videos and watch the last part of this quest for knowledge when it's available. I must also give credit where it's due. I used a few videos from the following YouTube channels. In the last part of this video series, I will analyze and explain exactly what happens when you leave the pilgrim in the Church of Yorshka alive. I'll delve deep into the Usurp the Fire ending and fully explain all the endings in this game and touch on the endings in the first game. It'll be a doozy.